Hello everyone and welcome to Top Doom Eternal Bosses with me, Zap Lasers. Number 1, the Gladiator. Now this was a tough fight. You get dumped into an arena filled with ambient demons and facing off against a huge offensive and defensive powerhouse that is the Gladiator himself. The Gladiator has a number of cheating defensive moves. He has a spinning chain, which makes it impossible to hit him. He has a very fast chain mace attack, which can knock your health down very, very quickly. And in order to hit him effectively, you have to time your attacks to his stagger point. Now, right now, what we're watching is the second part of this fight. In the second part of the fight, he does away with a large defensive shield, which makes him even more difficult to hit. However, at the same time, the shield flashes green whenever he's about to attack you. So it's actually, when he's got the shield up, a little bit easier to time your riposte and catch him in his stagger state. Unfortunately, in this half, it's much more difficult to see the eyes flash. And if you miss that moment, you wind up, well, pretty dead. There are other tactics to consider as well. You may have noticed during the previous fight that he used a force field move to trap me in a particular position while he attacked me with an electric skipping rope. Those are probably not the canon descriptions of those weapons, but I prefer my nomenclature. The best way to avoid these attacks, I initially thought, was to keep the Gladiator at middle distance in the same way as I've done with the Marauder. Wail on him as much as possible with the explosive shotgun, and really use the ambient demons and the rest of the environment to keep me ammoed up and keep me healthed up. You'll notice there I did a pretty good job of jumping his electric skipping rope, and I'm doing a relatively good job of keeping him directly in front of me. What I didn't appreciate during this run through was just how much damage the Gladiator does with each hit. He makes it very difficult to keep your health up at a reasonable level if you're focusing on keeping him center of your targeting reticule. So how best to beat the Gladiator? Well, there's a couple of techniques that are very important. The first is catching him during a stagger state. I found this very, very difficult during the second half of the fight because it's hard to see when his eyes flash green. But if you persevere, you can learn the timings, and catching him once or twice with the amount of health he drops is all you need, really. On top of that, what you need to be doing is farming health at a far higher rate than you have been doing throughout the previous game. You also want to be far more mobile. The Marauder taught me to stick to the middle distance and focus on dealing damage whenever an opportunity presented itself. The Gladiator is much more about staying mobile and effective within the arena, and perhaps missing opportunities to deal damage so that you can avoid taking damage and keep your health at a level where you're actually able to continue the fight and you're not going to be constantly killed. I found certain weapons for their ability to ensure or increase the likelihood of a glory kill were very effective. The plasma cannon, the assault rifle, and in terms of dealing damage to this guy, I think the rocket launcher with its fire and forget multiple missile add-on is really invaluable. It lets you deal damage and then look away to avoid his attacks and stay mobile, which without which I don't think I would have been able to lay the smackdown on this guy or get this very satisfying head crunching finish. Number 2, the Khan Maker. Now this one was hard as nails. I've mentioned in the previous segment how I really enjoyed being forced to change up my tactics and change up my weapon sets by Doom Eternal. And this fight really takes that to the absolute maximum level. The first thing, before you even look at the boss, that you should notice about this fight is that there are no ambient demons. That means no glory kill health and no chainsaw ammunition. They've been completely replaced with these Maker drones. They're the little red dudes that you see with the gold heads. Maker drones can only be farmed for health and for ammo num-nums if they are shot in the head. Now, the problem I have with that tactic is I'm very, very bad at shooting things in the head. My headshot ratio for most games tends to sit around the 5 or 10% area. So not only did I have to change up the tactics in terms of not just pulling out the chainsaw or whipping out the plasma rifle whenever I needed ammo or health, but I also had to learn to really nail those guys directly in the head every single time in order to keep my ammo supply sufficient for fighting the Khan Maker herself. Now, she is no pushover either. In a level where they've completely flipped everything that you've already learned on its head, she has a basically invincible shield. The only way to damage her is to knock the shield down by repeatedly damaging it. Then, once you've knocked the shield down, you still can't damage her directly. What you need to do is hit her with the chain shot of your shotgun. Use that chain shot to fly right up into her face. And when you're right up into her face, you then have to nail her with a blood punch. This isn't easy. You have to make sure that your blood punch is charged, you need to make sure that your shotgun has ammo, and you need to be constantly watching your health. However, the ending to this fight was incredibly satisfying, and I'm gonna leave you now with those final moments of the Khan Maker.
You have destroyed all that I was meant to rule, and all just to protect them. Here, servants to our police. You have broken the holy seal of Urdak. Your transgressions here will jeopardize all of creation.
I don't know about any of you, but I'm pretty intimidated. Apparently we broke heaven, and obviously we've ripped and torn hell to pieces, so I guess the demons are coming to Earth now? I don't know if that's canon, but seems pretty bad, Doom Guy. Seems pretty bad. And number 3, last but by no means least, the Icon of Sin. The Icon of Sin is a Doom staple. He's been around since the very early days of Doom, and back then he was just a massive horned demon head hanging from a wall, and inside John Romero's severed head was stuck on a wooden spike for some reason. Now he's been given a massive glow up. He's a huge building-sized demon, initially covered with armour. Later, when that armour's been destroyed, you find out he's ripped as all heck, and he is incredibly tough, complex boss fight arena, where you have to target his individual body parts, removing his armour and then later removing his flesh, whilst avoiding some pretty powerful attacks. He has laser beams, which he fires from an eldritch symbol on his head. He has big sweeping punch attacks that, by support of his massive size, sweep the whole level with damage. And as you've just seen, he can rain meteoric fireballs down on you, which not only do quite a lot of damage themselves, but are aerial denial weapons as well, making it impossible or damaging to move into different parts of the level. I was really impressed by how much the character model in Doom Eternal looks like the sprite from the original Doom games. When you first see him covered in armour, and even later on when you pretty much destroyed 90% of his flesh, you can recognise him straight away off the bat, and it gives a nice sense of continuity to the series to see these models so effectively reproduced here and given a massive 3D amazing glow up. The fight is grueling. It lasts a very long time. There's 2 major stages, both of which you have to destroy 8 body parts and 8 bits of armour. And I found right at the end that I was really struggling to figure out which bits of his horrible, fally outy, bony, organ-destroyed body I hadn't yet blasted. The laser sword was an absolute godsend, and I'm really glad there was so much ammo from this weapon scattered around the level. I think without it I would have struggled to take him down. But once I'd reached the end of the fight, when that last missile landed, the feeling of satisfaction, if you've not yet finished the game, this stage, you're not going to believe how great this moment feels. Now this cutscene is amazing, so I'm going to leave you to watch it. I've been Zap Lasers, I've been playing Doom Eternal, and if you want to see more videos like this, please subscribe to my channel. Thanks very much. Bye!
And you will be the savior. Your strength